Hello again, traders. Right, it's the weekend, and as always, I now have got into a routine of checking a load of weekly charts. I've been really busy on all sorts of stuff this weekend, away from and on charts. So rather than knock out a ton of charts, I just thought I'd put together a quick video about what I'm looking at and how I analyse the charts. And this is never, what I do online is never ever meant to be a signal service type thing. It is just about how I approach the charts, and hopefully it might help you. So I've got this lovely dashboard now. All it is a collection of this particular indicator, recent candles, loaded up 3 times to get the rows of currency pairs shown as so. And these are the settings if they are useful to anyone else who's trying to set it up like this. And then all I do is just save it as a template using this button here, and then you can just open it up and you can set them up in all sorts of different permutations, but H4 weekly and so on and so forth, or all on one row, 4 different pairs, 5 different pairs, whatever you like. It's really never ending, the permutations, the possibilities. So first chart that glares at me that is a possible of possible interest is 2 massive great big gold bars down, so it could well instigate a bounce. So I would go and have a look at the gold chart and do some further investigation. The one I want to talk about, actually, I mean, there's loads. Look, we've had a 3 candle reversal there. That's the penultimate, that's the ultimate. Yeah, it's debatable whether it's slightly higher, but let's just take that as the ultimate. There's a clear break of support there. If this was a line chart, that would be a line chart low. So I wouldn't be surprised if this little one bounced. S&P 500, US 500 in the Asian session, and then this is a downtrend. So what you'd likely see is a weak, potentially sideways, a green bar there, and then just a continuation to the downside. So that's how I view these things. Big break of support here, in other words buyers, and a fair bit of green, a clean air, should I say, green bar, one green bar to the next level. So again, there is no reason these bounce, but they often do, because that's profit taking for the sellers and loading up with discount sell orders at a higher price for the sellers also. So lots and lots of interesting possibilities there. Never say never. That's why I don't call trades, because I use the lower time frames to actually take the scalps. They can go up, down, or sideways, as you well know. So everything has interest here. That's the same analysis as the previous 2 over here. The other thing that would interest me, if I was going to look at this AJ pair in depth, would be to put the low on there and see whether this has in fact closed below that wick. If it has, that in my head excuse me, would be a failure of buyers to hold the sellers, and effectively it's much like the 3 candle reversal, where we use the wick as the sort of intention of what they intend to do, as it were, the statement of intent, as it were. So that one clearly has broken below there, so it's a flat bottom almost as well, so no wick, so I would expect that to potentially bounce in the Asian session, and then we may get a scalp to the downside too. So big weekly candles mean potentially huge move for scalpers. So a push up and push down, that's a trade up, and then wait for it to continue in the direction. And remember, these are weekly candles. If I always look at these longer term charts with a 5-minute, 15-minute head on, and if that was a 5-minute or 15-minute chart, then I wouldn't be surprised to see 3 or 4 bars one way, and then confirm to the downside, as it were, and then these can represent weeks and weeks of waiting. But remember, we do get the faster moves based on the 5-minute and 15, so they're a great indicator of a short-term move, and it's why I like trading against, in other words, the bounces, because they do tend to happen quite fast. The reason being, of course, that they've piled into a ton of, in this case, potential buyers, an area that sent that massive green candle. So there were obviously buyers there. It's come back to test to see whether it's still got any buyers left, and that's what we trade, test and retest. That's my mantra. So I did drill down myself into cable, pound dollar. So, and then because I always look at the opposites, as it were, I want to see if the pound is short, then I want to see what the dollar is doing. And in this case, the Swissy US dollar Swiss franc is really strong with a flat top. That's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if that would potentially pop back. I mean, this is just a strategy on its own, this thing. The last level of resistance broken to the left is that high there. There's no higher than it. So I would expect that test and retest, you know what I'm talking about, to potentially pop back and test that. So I'd be watching that on Monday Asian session. Never looked forward to Mondays so much in my life. Cable. Yeah, what the cable weekly chart. Let's have a look. Where is that? Oh, there. Now this is broken. It's got a flat bottom, no wick, no tail, whatever you want to call it. It's broken through the resistance, the high and the close of that candle. It's broken through the bodies of both of these candles. They're just the wicks left. So we've got a very sort of weak buying area below us. So I wouldn't be surprised if that will perhaps, because there's no wick there, possibly bounce back and then possibly move down. But when we look at the actual chart, we can see what's going on. We've come from a huge area of sellers, and as I said, we've just analysed what's going on here. So maybe a quick bounce back up to this area here. As I say, never trade what I talk about. A quick bounce and then possibly down a bit further. Much the same as what happened here. Look, we closed all below those levels there. We had a little bounce and then we've collapsed there to this obvious level of buyers down here. Sellers and buyers here. Flip zone, call it what you like. Big old test and close there. No surprises to see a bounce off that level 3 weeks ago. So, you know, we can learn so much, in my opinion, just from weekly charts. So this also has got no momentum or strength to the upside. It's all about selling. But, you know, we trade the lower time frames and we take our lead from them. So my first port of call, comparing this to anything else, for me would have been the dollar index. Unfortunately, it's a new quarter opened up, so there's not much information there. Apart from the fact we've got a massive weekly candle. I could go into this more, but it's not necessarily really, by digging out other charts and so on and so forth. That is a big weekly candle with a flat top. Wouldn't be surprised if it pops back. But the reason I looked at Swissy is because obviously it's dollar, showing dollar strength, and as I said before, flat top, possibility of a pop back to these levels here. Don't trade to those levels is my, because you are contra trend, you can see clearly an uptrend. All I'm after is 5 or 6 pip scalp, or 7 or 8 pip scalp, or whatever, using the lower time frames and all our 3CR and RSI histo rules. You could look at UJ. That doesn't tell us much at all, to be honest with you. You could look at another dollar related pair, dollar CAD. It's broken that high there. Whoops, don't know what happened there. See it's clearly closed above that high there, and we have got room above to the flip zone. Oh, don't know what's going on with my charts today. There. So that would suggest that this has got room above, which would then also correspond or correlate with the cable analysis. Another one that would be interesting to look at, although any dollar pair would help with your decision. I'm not a great one for correlation, but definitely that's great. That's close to absolutely everything. That shows that dollar strength. That tells me dollar strength is probably really in the market. What is going on with this? I think my mouse is playing up. Keeps dropping them before I get to where... with this script I've got, I just hover over the candle and then it snaps to the low and gives me a few details. I can't sell this one, or can't share it rather, it's proprietary. So yeah, I mean, pop back and then continuation would definitely look right. I mean, this is a massive downtrend. We have had a 3CR up there, which would suggest long, but long in an uptrend, which this is not in an uptrend here. So the pullback happened as expected as a result of that 3CR. That's a whole strategy on its own. Yeah, so Asian session open, maybe a little bounce, maybe a gap up, and then continue down is a very strong possibility. This would agree too. I was going to look at Euro against the Swissy, because that tends to be the opposite. Again, massive move down, all clear if you like to the left hand side. So yeah, agrees with what I've just said. Big candle, no wick, possible bounce again, continuation, or if it gaps up then it's likely to fill the gap and then continue down. So that's it. That's how I assess my weekly charts. There's so much to be gleaned from all of these pairs just by looking at this, in my opinion. You know, use baby pips for their candlestick charts. The strat is really good for their patterns, 1 2 3s and 2 1 2s and 2 2 1s and all those sort of different patterns they have. I'm all over candlestick charts like this, 3 candle reversals, because it's what I've studied for the last 15 to 20 years, and for me it is just second nature. Even something like this, we've broken below all the, that's BTC, all the line chart lows, if you like. If we deleted the wicks from there, we've broken through it, and we've just had a pullback, which we would have suggested would happen based on that great big weekly red bar there, and this could now be possibly setting up for a continuation to the downside. ETH, I hate BTC, it's a horrible little thing. ETH is not agreeing with that, but it doesn't matter in the least bit really. What's this one showing us? Well, that's a doji candle, and that is uncertainty, up or down, no surprises there. It didn't, this red candle didn't close below the buyers, so that would definitely suggest buyers are potentially likely to have another go at this point. But maybe the sellers will push it down into the buyers, build up their positions at a discounted price, if you like, and then power up. So that one is a wait and see one, isn't it? But so much information. Inside bars, that might be an inside bar that's already broken out. Have we got a current inside bar anywhere? I'm sure I saw one earlier. Oh, there's an inside bar, yeah. So NZD is looking strong in that against the CAD there. We would have to drill down into the actual currency pair. Well, we can do that and see what that's telling us. NZD CAD. Excuse me. That has closed into a huge area of supply and demand here, and I just noticed that one as I put it there, so you can see why it stopped at that point. Massive buying, deserves a bit of a pullback, to be honest with you, so I wouldn't be surprised if this does push down a little bit. But as you can see, we should be looking for buying. This is telling us exactly what the chart is telling us. It's easing off a little bit. I mean, we could draw a zone from that flip zone there, which corresponds with all of these wicks and things here, and then up to that blue line we've got. that is the zone, and it's smack bang in the middle of the zone at the moment, here, and now we're at it. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this may have a little bit of a, sorry about that, have a little bit of a pullback to build up more buying power and to attack the next level. But as I say, I'm only looking for 5 or 6 pips, and I'm scalping all the way. So it just gives me a fantastic idea of how I'm going to make my money in the first 15 or 20 minutes or an hour of the Asian session. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, great weekend, what's left of it.